your heart rate, boosted too much when you were around this type of person. So that means your physiological responses were unacceptable. I'm sorry, you have a poor credit rating. You can't rent a car.
Exactly. And so this is a real danger. I know a lot of people don't see it, but a lot of people aren't really tracking what's happening behind the scenes. They're not quite, let's say, savvy with what's happening within the AI space. I think we can all agree over here. Most people are kind of fed up with like all these big Silicon Valley companies. We're not deeming them good or bad, but more or less.
The COVID is reversing that. Now people love Amazon. Amazon is their lifeline. That's the only way they can get anything in their house. And all they're doing all day is Zoom, Google Hangouts, and so forth. So I think the techlash is arguably being reversed by whatever that symptom is called, where people fall in love with their captors. Right?
I know this.
Stockhausen or something?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome, that's right.
It. Yeah,
we're getting Stockholm syndrome, where we're falling in love with Governor Cuomo, and we're falling in love with Amazon and Google, because while we're locked in our room, they're the only ones delivering us a few crumbs. Mm-hmm. And that's going to cause people to care less when these tech conglomerates are feeding data to intelligence agencies. But in the end, people are going to see why this wasn't so after all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today, we will include parts of the Digital Taxonomy Act and all of the Blockchain Innovation Act in HR 8128, the Consumer Safety Technology Act. As many of you know, blockchain technology is an exciting new technology to help preserve data, help with transactions, help with the defense of our country, communications. And first we see in the Blockchain Innovation Act that'll direct the Department of Commerce in consultation with the FTC to conduct a study and submit to Congress a report on the state of blockchain technology and commerce, including its use to reduce fraud and increase security. This is along the way to our long-term goal of setting up a blockchain center of excellence within the Commerce Department, and parts of HR 2154, which would require the FTC to submit to Congress a report and recommendations on unfair and deceptive trade practices in digital tokens. This is also along the road to setting up a jurisdiction between the SEC, the CFTC, and the FTC.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come with that video just to make you think. Now, we had Darren Soto, Congressman of Florida, go over the actual two bills as far as what blockchain is concerned. That's how they presented it. Now, basically, he went over the HR 2154, the Digital Taxonomy Act, and HR 8153, the Blockchain Innovation Act, going into HR 8128. Now, guys, let me explain something to you. Let's go back to the Digital Taxonomy Act. Now, this was done in April of 2019. This bill requires the Federal Trade Commission to develop a plan for preventing unfair or deceptive practices relating to transactions involving digital tokens, and that includes cryptocurrencies. Now, that's what he didn't say. Now, basically, getting over into HR 8153, this is for Blockchain Innovative Act. This was September 1st. They have to get with the Secretary of Commerce. Who's our Secretary of Commerce? Wilbur Ross. What did Wilbur Ross do? He bailed out Trump. And then also, of course, Wilbur Ross was an agent for what? The Rothschilds. He worked for the Rothschilds. Now, let's move over to the HR 8128, where both of these bills are going to be bundled into. Now, basically, this is for AI for Consumer Protection Safety Act. Now, this is a pilot program to explore the use of artificial intelligence, guys. So, and also machine learning. And we know what machine learning, well, I've been over this several times with Ben Gersiel. That's why I played Ben Gersiel's video at the beginning. Because machine learning means that these machines are getting smarter and smarter, learning all of your patterns. So guys, the only thing this is basically developing a tracking device. That's all this bill is. They just bundle into one So therefore, they're going to bring in the digital currencies and then also bring in the tracking so they know everything about you. Now let's get on the timeline. Now basically they have 180 days from the actual pilot program to report. So basically that puts us around March. And then of course basically they have a year to develop a plan. So that put us back in September. So we know that basically we'll have everything done, everything rolled out by September 2021. So we know these digital wallets are going to be ready January 2021. And the fact is that basically they'll be piloting this whole period until September when the masses start to use it. So guys, all the time frames match up. It's like it's a lot. This bill was the HR 2154 was April of 2019. The HR 8128 was August of 2020. So, and then also the Blockchain Innovation Act was September 1st, 2020. So they went back to the Digital Tokens and Cryptocurrency Act and moved it up because that's an old bill from April 2019 and moved it in with the current bill. Now, what does that remind you of? Exactly, the C word. Remember, they already had that bill flowing in 2019, even before the C word, and then that CARES Act, they put it in. So, guys, we have to make sure that we understand how the game is played. But that's all I have for you. You have a wonderful day.
There's a risk that, the measures taken to control a pandemic stick around behind the scenes after the pandemic is gone in ways that ultimately may do even more harm than the good they did originally. So if you're looking at, all right, you've got a Fitbit, you've got a digital thermometer, you've got a pulse oximeter, and you're putting that information into an app which some well-meaning big tech company is feeding into their database. Then they're analyzing it together with national government, maybe sharing with other national governments to track the flow of the pandemic, right? And that's valuable. Something of that nature is certainly necessary. Now, after the pandemic is gone, will big tech and big government stop collecting data on everybody's physiology and using it, to track the next dangerous thing, like say nasty Muslim terrorists or whatever it may be, right? Of course they're not going to stop, right? Of course, there's always going to be some other really important thing that's viewed as a terrible threat. And generally, we don't see these panopticon type technologies getting rolled back too much after they're put into place. And there are decentralized alternative ways to do exactly the same and better things in terms of tracking the pandemic, which would set a positive platform for development after the pandemic is gone, as opposed to setting the stage for Big Brother to invade everybody's body. Right now, I'm agitating right now for all these things to be rolled out to help with the pandemic. But because they're not being done well enough now, and they should be. But if they're rolled out in the wrong way, they're going to be used after the pandemic to make a police state that, hitherto has certainly never been seen in the Western world, and even beyond what China has managed to do so far.